From 0 to 1 million euros in the next bull market. My name is James Roberts, and finally, we are in the beginning of the bear market. The whole idea of this channel and in my life is I want to build a crypto company during a bear market. Why do I want to build it during the bear market? Because now all the assets, liquid assets like equity or cryptocurrencies, will be devalued, underpriced, and a really good bargain. And we will make a lot of money when we come into the top of the next bull market. The first phase will be in 3 parts. First of all, we need to raise capital. I have calculated I need about 10,000 euros. 3,000 euros will be to register a LLC somewhere in Europe. 7,000 euros we will need to have in assets. We will start with only crypto. Because the company, when you start it, has to have something to start working on or working with. Since we will also running costs, we need to keep the costs as the bare minimum in the beginning. It's the same thing we do every time you start a new company. But we need to have some sort of cash flow. We need to have a constant cash flow every month. So we will start and build a small business, a cash flow business, something easy, something simple, something that we also can scale a bit until the assets are big enough in the company so it generates enough revenue to run the company. The third part of the first phase will be to actually register the company. And we can only do this after we have the cash flow model and we have the starting capital. And of course, we want to choose the limited liability model because we want to have a company where my private economy and the company's economy are completely separated. And that's why, every bigger company eventually goes from a small company to some sort of a LLC because you want to keep the economy separated. And where should we start a company? We have some options. We can start a company inside of the European Union or inside of Europe. Or if we look outside, we can look at some of the, the most famous tax havens. There are pros and cons with all 3 ideas. It's safe to be inside of the European Union, but the regulations are pretty heavy inside of here. So maybe we'll look at some sort of a tax haven inside of Europe, but outside of the European Union. We could go also to like the Cayman Island or stuff like that, but it's a little bit far away and I'm not sure of that. We will take in a separate video later on. We start looking at with the pros and cons of where to start a company, in which country, in which regulatory system. So what kind of time frame are we talking about the first phase? I would say 4 to 6 months. We are now in November in 2025. So in the late winter, early spring, we should be able to get to the end and start to the end of the first phase and actually start register the company. But still, we have to go through the first 2 phases, gathering of the starting capital and building a cash flow business. When we come to the end of the starting phase and we go over to the growth phase, we should have revenue coming in from part. I will use my salary, of course. We will also have the small cash flow business. We should start getting revenue also from the crypto because we will stake it in some way or some other way to get yield from the crypto. And hopefully during the summer we should be able to start having a little bit money from social media too, from YouTube. We will post on other social medias too, TikTok for example, and start getting revenue from that too, and then really start growing this company all the way until the next bull market. And through the whole of this bear market we will buy constantly as much as possible at as low price as possible. So in the plan we have 3 phases. The starting phase the growth phase and the ending phase. The ending phase will be when we get into the next bull market, in the top of the next bull market. The growth phase is, of course, somewhere from spring 2026 and all the way to the bull market, and we don't know really where that start. And of course, the first phase, the starter phase, where we are now, gathering capital, building a model, starting and register a company somewhere in Europe. Of course, during the first 6 months, I will lean heavily on my own salary in my work to finance this. Because you have to start like that. Because remember, I will start from zero. I will not use any of my other investments that I already have. They will be dormant. In the next video, we will look at gathering the starting capital. We will look at where we are right now. How much capital do we already have right now? And how we will start getting the rest of the 10,000 euros. I hope you like this small video, and I hope I see you in the next video. I wish you all the profit and fortune in life. Goodbye.